Hi, I'm Thomas Tedder. I'm the CEO of Alien Gear Holsters. This is the ShapeShift Starter Kit instructional video that I'm going to do for you. I'm going to walk you through this, what you're going to get when your package arrives, and how you're going to use it and put everything together. So this is going to be sort of an informal video. I just want to help you understand how to use this kit. Now, this is what you're going to get when this starts off here. You're going to have this starter kit, and it's got 4 holsters in one. Now, the first thing I'd like to point out is I want you to keep this box. We put a lot of thought into this, and it's a great organizational box. And the point of this, the whole reason we went with this box was to keep you organized. So as you can see, there are a lot of parts here, and it's very simple and very easy to use. But if you were to throw all these in just a drawer and have the parts all sliding around, it's going to take you a couple minutes to find the specific pieces you need. But if you use this box, it's a really nice box. The foam is great. It's got little compartments that fit perfectly, and everything is labeled underneath. It's going to show you exactly what you need and exactly where everything goes and how to keep everything organized. So the first thing you're going to see here, you have some instructional manuals, and these are really great. So I'd like to quickly talk about this. We spent a lot of time on these, and we did a great job of making these really easy to use. So we put a quick start guide in here, and this shows you real quickly how to go between the 4 configurations. And so it's real easy to go back and forth, and this just makes it really concise. Now, I'd like you to watch this video before you get your ShapeShift. After you order, you should have a link to this video, so watch this all the way through, and then when you get it, go ahead and read your instruction manual. And then when you start putting this together, it's going to be really fast, really easy. On the back side of this is a parts chart, and you don't really need this. This just kind of shows you everything that's included, and most of this stuff is assembled, and it's just kind of there. It's just they're showing you what all you're getting. And then the instruction manual, we really spent a long time developing this, and we used a lot of resources to develop this to give you a great manual. And it's really very, very good. It's got great pictures, great instructions. It doesn't have a lot of that mindless text that you have to read through. It's just really great to the point. So I'm going to dive in here. What you're going to see first are these 2 bases. The first base is for the IWB hip holster. This is the 4.0 base, and it upgrades from the 3.0. And then the other base you see here, this is the appendix and slide base. And so these toolless bases are allowing you to switch configurations. So before, we had swappable shells with the 3.0. And you would unscrew these 4 screws, and you had clips that were adjustable with screws. And I'm going to show you how much better this is. Because there's one point of flex, one point of mount here is much more flexible. It's more comfortable. We've upgraded the neoprene. And so the shell here is much improved as well. This is injection molded instead of thermoformed. And like the 3.0, we had the adjustable shells, or the removable shells and adjustable clips. But on this holster, it's as easy as this. That's how you adjust a clip, rather than a screw. You just go 180 down, pull it out, put it in the new position, and that's it. It's very, very simple. And there are no screws to work loose. You're never going to have to worry about these coming out. Now the base still has swappable shells, like we had before, but it's much easier. So this is the shell how it comes to you. It's in the full shell configuration. So this is covering the gun on both sides, and we have a spline here that we attach to different mounting points. However, when we want to be in an inside the waistband or concealed configuration, we don't want this extra bulk in the way. So this shell splits in half like this. And what we're going to do, you can see how the gun fits in here. It's really a great fit. Now, when we're mounting with a single point now, we don't want this trigger guard to be exposed on the back side. So we're covering the trigger guard, but we're still keeping plastic out of the way here, so this is going to come closer to your body, the handgun will, without extra plastic in the way. So now this will just mount right on this holster with no tools, just like this. This is a lock, so you have a little slot here on this top rail, and on this top latch, and then you have 2 tabs. It just pops on there like that. This lock locks that in place so it can't come off. And then this twist lock locks the lock in place so it can't come off. And what you have is a holster that's very, very flexible. And it's a great upgrade to the 3.0 because not only did we keep our award-winning base, so the 3.0, we had a great base. That's what made it so great. It had the neoprene, it had a stainless steel insert, spring steel, it had ballistic nylon, and this great rubber face. And so on this, we've actually improved the texture on the surface, on the face here. We've added an edge binding. The neoprene is now perforated, so it breathes much better. It's much more comfortable. We have no screws that you actually use. So you have these clips here that are toolless, and then the only screws on this holster are holding the latch onto the base. And these are set up for each gun a little differently so that it's angled just perfectly on the base, because all guns are a little different. However, the user does have the ability to move these for even more adjustability if they desire, but really to adjust the cant, you don't ever need to really mess with that. You can just move the clips where you want. So this is a great improvement over the 3.0, but it's not just that the shells are easier to swap, because now we have swappable bases. So you can see this base looks the same except for it's missing these tabs. So if you put it on this base, I'm going to show you the box here. I'm going to put this back where it goes in that slot so I can find it fast later. And then these two clips right here, you have two appendix clips. This is for the appendix configuration I'm about to show you. It says appendix clip in the box and you keep it there. Now you have two of these. If you look on the back, one says small frame and one says large frame. So for your small frame guns, when you buy more shells in the future for another gun, that one shell is all you need. It's going to work on all of this. So all you need to buy is that shell. But what if this is a small frame gun and the other one's a large frame? That's why you have two separate clips here. So this one works on the smaller guns and this one fits better on the large frame guns. So you'll always have this and you won't need to worry about that. Now this is a shield, it's a small frame gun. So I am going to put the small frame clip on. So instead of the lock that I used on the hip holster here, we are going to use this appendix clip. It's got the lock built in. And so all I have to do is slide that on, and then I put my twist lock on. That locks your lock. And now this is an appendix holster. And you don't even have to wear this on your appendix. You can wear this anywhere on your person. You can wear it at 3 o'clock if you like. And a feature I forgot to show you just a second ago when I was showing you here on the 4.0 hip base is the adjustable retention right here. So on the 3.0, you adjusted the retention by 4 screws. You would tighten those or loosen those, and that would just basically clamp your gun tighter or less tight in the holster. The way we've done this on the ShapeShift is inside of here, there's a little protruding nub, and it's right here. And you can dial that up or down by twisting this. You take one of your twist locks, there's a little square piece right on the end. You put that in the twist lock hole here, or in the adjustable retention unit hole, and you just twist that tighter or looser, and that protrudes that nub in or out, which grabs a trigger guard more or less. And then I'm going to show you here. You can make this so loose that basically your handgun will fall right out, and you can make this so tight it's not coming out. So right now I've got a moderate amount of retention. You can hear that click. That's overcoming that retention bump. But I can loosen that just by turning counterclockwise. You know you're turning it because you can see the little alien head spinning here. And now I've got nothing. It just slides in and out. And there are nice positive little clicks that you're going to hear. You're going to feel it. And as you turn that, you're going to start getting retention. And you just dial it in. Now I'll make a note that when this is inside the waistband, it's going to feel different than when you're just holding it here in your hands. So what may feel perfect right here, when you actually wear it inside the waistband, what's going to happen is your belt is going to squeeze on all of this. And then it's going to put even more pressure, and it's going to have a little bit more to overcome than when it's just in your hands. So when you get it set where you think you need it, go ahead and put it on and try it then, or maybe just start a little light and try it. And once you've got it set though, you'll never have to mess with this. And so I'm going to crank it down a little more here just to kind of show you. So that's to the point. That's very difficult to get out, and I can keep going with this where it's just stuck. But you don't want to do that. You want to be able to get the gun out when you need it. So I'm going to pull this down a little bit and then go on to the next configuration. One more thing I might add, certain guns like a Kimber Micro 9, it has a very sharp edge of steel on the trigger guard as opposed to this shield that has more of a rounded polymer trigger guard. So if you have a gun that's got a real sharp trigger guard, the adjustment on the retention can be a little more fat, like a fewer clicks to do the same thing as what it would on the polymer. So when you're pulling that out, also you'll notice that if you're twisting your hand into that like trigger retention unit, then, or the adjustable retention unit, you'll notice it may be harder than if you're just pulling straight. So pay attention to the angle of your wrist. So on like a Kimber Micro 9, you might want to just give it a slight twist in as you're pulling out, and it's going to release very consistent. So there's only a few guns that feel that way, but just pay attention if that's the case. So now I've shown you the 4.0 hip holster, and I've shown you the appendix. So now I'm going to show you the slide. The outside the waistband slide is a configuration that's meant for concealed carry outside the waistband. And the outside the waistband paddle, OWB paddle, is meant for really more of like a range gun or open carry. So this would be your concealable outside the waistband. Now it's going to use the same base as the appendix. And I'm going to show you the box here. Right here is your slide components. And it says belt slide adapter and belt slide lock. So those are your two components. Now, you have an extra trigger guard pre-assembled to a slide, and so you will just snap that on, put your twist lock on, you will take the appendix base, and it's also the slide base, and now you have this one. So this one's a little stiffer than the others. Just press up a little bit, it'll go on. And the trickiest part of this holster is getting the twist lock right there. And so you don't have the room to get your full fingers on it, but just put it in there with one finger, and you can just take one finger and just push it off to the side, and that's it. It's locked in place, it's ready to go. So now you will slide your belt through this, and it's going to keep it on your, I like to wear this one around 3 o'clock, but you can wear it a little further back or a little further forward. And this is going to be very concealable outside the waistband. You can wear like a sport coat or something over this. Now to get this one off, that tricky twist lock, you just, same thing, just take your finger and push down on it right there, and it'll twist off. Or you can take this other twist lock here and just kind of push down on it from that side as well. And I like to just use my finger, and then it'll just pull right off. So that's just a little bit of a trick on that one. And then same thing, you just pull that slide lock off, and then you can pull this trigger guard off, and you're back apart. Now, I'm going to show you the paddle next, but I'm going to put all my parts back in the box in an organized manner so that I can find them easy. So I'm putting the appendix clips back in the appendix slot, and the slide holster components back in their slots. Okay. So I've got everything back where it goes. So now if I want to go back to another configuration, it's quick and easy. The last one I'm going to show you here is the paddle holster. Now we don't care as much about concealment with this one, so we can put the full left shell. And this one is going to be used on some upcoming configurations that are coming out too. So the drop leg is just released, and this will be used for that. The Molly is coming out in very shortly, if not already by the time you see this video. That will also use this, and some other ones too, car holster, things like that. So the paddle holster uses this paddle. It's got a cool little alien on there, and this is a one-button attachment here. So you just put it on, and then that's it. And this can be worn cross-draw. You could put a reverse cant on it. Because this is 360-degree rotational here, you can put it any way you want. Now, one thing I might want to add here, after you push this button in, when you put the rotating adapter on here, make sure this button, see how it's not out all the way? Push these together until that button pops up, and that's going to make sure that you're connected, because if that button didn't come up, this can still come apart. So once that's all the way together, this will not come apart. You can't break this. So there's another way you can use this too. If you don't like a paddle, there's a slide in here. And this, you can unscrew these two screws here, and there's more screws in your hardware bags here. You can take this with 4 attachment points, 4 screws to this adapter here, and then you can thread your belt through that. And some people like that, it may be a little more secure. So most are gonna prefer the paddle, it's what I prefer, and you can just put that in right there, clip it into place, and you're good to go. Now, this can also have a thumb release, which is right here. So, and it says in there thumb release, and I'm going to get into these clips here in a second. So, in order to put the thumb release on, you have to take this apart, and you'll use 1 screw. This is an optional piece, you don't have to use it, but I'm going to show you how this works. So basically, when this is on, when it's not on, you just set your adjustable retention unit for the amount of pressure you want this to have, the amount of retention. So you can crank this up pretty good so it's a nice, firm draw, but you may also want even more. So I'm actually going to loosen that some here. This basically holds the gun in, and it will not come out until this is depressed. It will not come out. So I'm going to give you some tips on using this too. What we wanted was, we didn't want the gun to be able to pull out and overcome this. So we made this, it's a little stiff. You can't just pull up while you're pressing this button, because the whole point of a thumb retention is so that it holds the gun if somebody's trying to grab it. So if we made this so that it would just overcome that button and just pop right apart, then it wouldn't be much use. It wouldn't be very functional. So we made it so that it was tougher to get it out. And in order to do that, you actually have to press the gun in a little bit as you draw the gun. So I'm going to loosen my adjustable retention since I'm using that now. I'm going to put this back together. Oh, I forgot to put it on, so I'm going to take it back apart. And so the way you put this on, inside of the box here, you've got a parts kit, okay? So you've also got, I'm going to get to this extra mount here in a minute, but you've got a hardware bag that's for the mount. That's for this mount. I'm going to go over that in a minute. This hardware bag is for your holster. And so you've got just a few extra components in here. And this is for, these little parts are for the paddle if you wanted to go to this. If you had a really thick belt, that would space that out a little bit. And the Allen wrench is your tool for adding this piece on. So it's toolless after you've got this on. This is the only tool really you'd use, and it's just 1 screw. We've tried to make that really simple. So you'll take 1 nut out of that bag and you'll put it in here, and it fits really tight in place, and so it's held by the polymer, so it's not going to spin. And then you just take the conical head screw, which looks like a cone on the top, and you'll come from the other side. So if you're right-handed, you'll put it on the left side, same as your rotating adapter. And you've got 1 screw here. Just put it in, twist it till it's tight, and you're good. I'm putting my spare parts back in the bag and back in that spot in the box where they go so I can find them later. So the way this works, it's very simple to the adjustable retention unit on the other side. Whereas the adjustable retention unit screws down to be a passive retention, this is an active retention. It's not passive. So it's just a little nub that comes through and grabs the trigger guard. And when you press the thumb release down, it pulls that nub out of the way. And so you can see here the way that works. It's going to hold and it won't let go. Now, we wanted this to be sturdy. We didn't want it to let go when you're pulling on the gun. So, now that this is together, I'm going to show you here. I'm even going to put the paddle on. So, here's your thumb release. You can hear it pressing in when it comes over that. And so, this will not come out without pressing this. Now, if you're pulling on this, you're not going to be able to push that thumb release and get it out as you're pulling. You have to push the gun down, press the thumb release, and then pull it out. So it's kind of that struggle. If somebody's already pulling on your gun, it's going to be much harder for them. You can press the thumb release down, but it's going to be pretty tough. You really want to push down, then hit the thumb release, and your gun will come right out. So this is the design of this because it's a safety feature for those who need it. When you're open carrying, it's a really good idea to have a thumb release on there so somebody can't just grab it. And the back of this paddle isn't going to let go either. That thing is on there, it's sturdy. It's got a nice lip that it's going to hang on. So you press down on the gun, then press the thumb release, it's going to come right out. Now, I've got a couple extra accessories in here that I want to show you. And I'm going to put these back where they go again. All right, so let me start with this. You've got a bonus holster mount here. You can put this anywhere. Anywhere you want to put this, you can mount this, the full shell. So in this bag here, we have included some extra hardware. Quite a bit, actually. If you want to put this in drywall, these are drywall anchors, and the instructions are, once again, in your instruction manual, there's a great section in here that talks about that. So you've got drywall anchors, you've got plastic screws, you've got machine screws, you've got self-tappers. These are self-tapping plastic screws, so if you want to put this through some plastic on your car, that's what these are made for. And we've even put a drill bit in here for you to use to drill your holes with. So this is a complete hardware pack, and it's for mounting this anywhere you want to put it, on the side of your bed, or your nightstand, under your desk, anywhere like that. So that's what this is for. I was wrong. This is the plastic screw. That's a self-tapper for probably metal. Okay. So the last piece I want to show you are these clips. Now, if you didn't buy the extra clips, you're going to have a plug in there and you won't even see this. But we have an extra hardware clip set that includes J clips, C clips, and what we call O clips. Now, when you're wearing your holster, these clips right here are adjustable for your Canton ride height, and it's really fast and easy. So I'm going to put this back in a half shell configuration. Now, if you don't want these clips, or maybe in a particular day you want a different clip, all you have to do is take those out, take the one you want, like this O clip, and put it in place. That easy. Or a J clip. Maybe you want extra concealment when you're tucked in one day. You can put the J clip on, and that just kind of goes under the belt, and that's all you see is this tiny little piece right here. Or the C clip. It's a little harder to see than the standard D clip. So you just have the top and the bottom exposed, and it's actually very secure. My favorite, though, is the D clip. This is all I wear. It holds on very, very tight. It's an incredible clip, and this is more for somebody who wants a little extra ways to carry it. Now, I'm going to put these back, and then for my finale, I'm going to switch between several of these quickly just to kind of show you, because I've kind of been explaining as I go without actually trying to show you how fast this is. So I am going to show you quickly now how fast and easy it is for me to go between these. So I'm going to start from assembled. There's the hip holster, so I will disassemble this. And I will take my appendix clip. And I'm an appendix now. And I am now back to the hip configuration. And I'll show you the slide. I'll grab my little slide components. And I'm in a slide configuration. And how about now I do paddle? I'll do the paddle holster next. And I'm putting everything back in their spot, as you'll notice, so I'm not just kind of throwing the parts around. Everything except these, which I would have to close the lid and mess up our video shot here. So to go to the paddle, I'm just going to put the full piece together, the full shell configuration. And I'm going to paddle, and actually when I do the paddle, I'll put this one on my belt first, and then I'll just grab this and pop it on. Because I can pop this on and off, and I've got some stuff in my car where I can quickly mount this, and some cool stuff you haven't seen yet. Maybe by the time you watch this video you will, but we've got some cool stuff coming for the car. So it really is that simple, that fast and easy to go between. And it looks complicated when you open the box, but you do this once or twice and it's really, really simple. You go half shell or full shell, and the only difference is a trigger guard on this side or the full shell. And then you just drop it in place. It's really, really simple. We thought a long time really hard about how to do this. We went through a ton of prototypes. It didn't just magically appear like this. I mean, we used lots and lots of prototypes, some really funky stuff to get where we're at. But the end result is a very simple system. It looks a little tough when you first see it, but everything just goes together really simple, really easy. It's really comfortable. None of this is really compromising anything because this half shell configuration is very minimalist. We don't have these big tabs. It's actually slimmer than it's ever been, and there's no material here. So even though we're covering the trigger guard, this isn't any thicker than the old stuff. In fact, this holster is actually slimmer and more comfortable than the 3.0. And so there's no compromise here at all. In fact, it's much more flexible, much more comfortable. So I appreciate you taking the time to get all the way this far in the video. And maybe you can save a link to this, bookmark it, and maybe you go back and watch it again once you open your box or if you forget how to do something, because it really is a very basic, easy system to use. And a couple of times practice in this, and you will be a pro. And I'm just gonna, one last time, put this back in the full shell and put it like it came when I got the box. And I'm gonna put the appendix clip in the appendix hole. And I store this little holster lock for the IWB on it, right here. So it's always easy to find it. And that goes in the lid. You don't have to use these elastic straps. We use those in shipping just to kind of keep things from bouncing around on you. So now, by doing this like this, everything's really easy to find. Thanks guys, I really hope you enjoy your new ShapeShift holsters.